Good morning still. It's Flagler. We're going to call to order the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners Workshop. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2026. It is 11:11 a.m. And if we would all stand for the pledge, we appreciate it.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And then we'll take our moment of silence to reflect on the men and women serving us here and abroad. Okay, welcome everybody. This workshop today, we're going to be discussing two items. One is the county administrator search with an update from our HR group. The other is our employee merit pay plan discussion. I believe they both rest with you, right, Mr.
Yep.
Picano? Okay. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So Charlie Picano, HR Director. So you guys have me all day today, like you said, I guess all morning. But to start, I just wanted to give an update on the administrator search. So the job has been posted. We've had really good applicants already. We're up to like 30 applicants. That's pretty good in a week. So I'm excited about it, and the poll is looking good already. And I'm excited as the next step of working with FACM. We have Bradley Arnold here as Sumter County Administrator, working with FACM just to talk about the next steps, show where we're moving forward, and him and I have kind of created a timeline of the next steps. So feel free to ask him any questions. Remember that he's working with us, and we want to deliver the best product that we can and the best applicant we can. So without further ado.
Good morning, sir. Thank you. We really
Morning. Thank you.
appreciate your assistance with this.
No, we're happy to do so. So again, Bradley Arnold with Sumter County. So I'm part of the committee, three-person committee, supporting this particular recruitment effort. Michelle Lieberman's the chair of our committee. Since she was not able to make it today, I'm filling in. But I do want to go through those next steps, some of the things that I've already accomplished. But what I'm hoping to take away from here as well is any further direction that the committee should be considering at the point in time the applications come to the committee for review and shortlisting on your behalf. So the slides just again depict what is the Florida Association of County Managers. I'm currently on the executive board for that particular organization, so that's another reason why we have strong interest in supporting our fellow counties. Some of the recruitment timeline activities. I think that your work in April in regard to going through the questionnaire, I think has generated a solid job description, which, as stated by Mr. Picano, has already been posted. The recruitment brochure that your team put together was really fantastic. We provided some feedback related to some minor modifications to that. But I think those two efforts and having it already posted, I think you have a good product. And that's already evidenced, as Mr. Picano said, on the number of applications that you've already received. So this is sort of the next step in the guidance document that we provided to you, if you will. It's our contractual obligations, is to go through, do the introduction of who are those committee members, a little bit of our background, and also how we think that's going to be a strength for the review for the shortlist for you. Also getting any additional guidance that you have, again, back to what you may be looking for a little bit more in depth, but just general questions also. So Michelle Lieberman, I've known her for quite some time, but she's a pretty outstanding individual working with Alachua County for the past 8 years, just recently recognized by NACO. I've been working also in a similarly fast-growing county there for a bit. We would actually compare ourselves on who's growing the fastest, whether it's Sumter County or Flagler, based on percentage of population growth. So there's a lot of challenges that are associated with a fast-growing county, particularly when you're moving from a rural to more urban. There's all kinds of different challenges and dynamics that you have to manage. Similarly, Taco Pope has been serving for a little over 6 years in Nassau County, another fellow fast-growing county, more representative also of a beach an oceanfront county similar to y'all versus Sumter County being interior. So we think that some of those experiences that we have, specifically Taco and I, can help review those applicants on who might be comparable for a good fit to serve the board, to serve the organization, but also the specific leadership that you're looking for from a community standpoint as well. Looking at not only your questionnaire information, but also looking at some of your past workshop information, also looking at your specific individual as elected officials, some of the campaign information that you had in regard to things that you had a concern about that you want to address. Some of those things that were highlighted, growth management in regard to making sure that proper planning is put in place, being able to manage that balance between developers' interest as well as trying to provide protections that are within the community. Some of those things that have also been brought up in the past, and Taco just recently went through that, had to do with the modification of impact fees. And so that drew some attention statewide related to their recent planned phased increase in impact fees. So again, I think Taco has some experience on the committee, understanding what some of those challenges might be. Some outsourcing as far as an interest in regard to managing budgets and looking at alternatives to be able to provide equal effectiveness and efficiency in regard to services. I sort of bring that experience to the table in regard to review to find out, do the candidates have some of those, I'll call it initiatives and ideas, but those are ultimately policy decisions by the board in regard to whether that's something to consider, and is it considered broader or more specific to a particular service. And then the big challenge, similar in Sumter County, is infrastructure, is not only trying to make sure that you're trying to manage the infrastructure to keep pace with the growth, but also trying to balance that with obligations to maintain the existing infrastructure that you have. So that's just some of the points I'll say that I've sort of picked up from some of the, I'll call it campaign issues that you may have had before becoming elected officials, that today is sort of getting guidance in regard to prioritization in regard to the type of candidate that might be a good fit in the shortlisting on which of those things are, I'll call it the higher order magnitude for us to look at. The other part is building relationship with cities and constitutional officers. I believe that you already have a good path forward in many of those aspects. Can you have a person that can build upon those positive relationships and expand those relationships with other cities and your constitutional officers? All three of us on the committee have that type of experience. Michelle's got some adversarial relationship with the past with sheriff as an example. But that's something that, again, where does that fit into your priority for candidates who may have that particular specific experience, again, to help on the shortlisting? And then general items for feedback from you. For example, I don't know if you're going to have any internal candidates. If you do, how do you want those addressed in regard to the search committee recommendations as well? We've had various inputs from different counties that we provided the service for, and so that's the reason why I'm better to ask now and before we proceed to those next steps. So those next steps that we would have, Mr. Picano sort of added some specific dates to these activities. So we've already gone through the processes to get to where applications coming in. Your team will actually go through the process of screening, and that's June 30th is that particular week. The second week is June 30th through July 6th. And right now, based on the number of applicants that have come in, hopefully there's not a need to consider looking at re-advertisement. I'm hoping that you have a very strong candidate pool by that time. The following would be week 3, which would be July 6th to July 10th. That would be where the 3 members of the search committee would go through and review those applications. July 13th, Michelle Lieberman has committed to being present to start walking through that particular tentative short list of candidates with you. Week 5 would be July 14th through the 20th. That's where your team would then take those particular candidates and go through the extensive background check. And then finally, week 6, which would be July 24th, we don't have a person slated yet in regard to which committee member may be present. Or if you want that, some counties, they got to the point of the background checks and the short list, and they sort of took it from there. And so they skipped that step. In the guidelines, it does call for that step, so we're definitely willing to provide that step. So it'll wind up being Michelle, me, or Taco for that particular July 24th presentation. The intent of the presentation is not to go through a why candidates were not selected, because we're certainly not trying to disparage anyone. It would really be focusing on those shortlisted candidates and, again, trying to emphasize how they fit the criteria that you're looking for to be able to serve you, the organization, and the leadership role for the community as a whole. And then this last section, which would be the July 27th through August 17th, that really is fully your operation. And so that's where the county attorney will be providing guidance for you in regard to the individual interviews and then the full public interview as a board with the specific candidates for you to make the determination who you want to proceed with to develop a relationship to serve in that capacity. Obviously, once you have that person confirmed, then we sort of reach back out to welcome that individual. If they're not already a member of the Florida Association of County Managers, we welcome them to join because it's an opportunity that at each of the Florida Association of Counties meetings, other managers are welcome to attend our management meeting, but we typically put on different training programs, and obviously we always have what we call the whip around session to be able to hear pains that people may be going through or ideas that people may have. So it's a networking opportunity to find out what may stick and may be beneficial for our specific counties as well.
When do you see that timeline?
This is July 27th through August 17th.
Thank you.
So this is where I brought my pen to.
I've got a quick question,
Yes, ma'am.
please, Mr. Arnold. FAC meetings are June 24th to the 23rd to the 26th, right, 25th? So this comes right after that. Do you think any of those people will be present at that meeting? Just a question.
I don't know. We do have deputy county administrators and deputy county managers and county administrators, county managers present. It's already been published on the FAC website as far as the opportunity. So being in the FACM, I've already gotten notice of the opportunity. So it's already being promoted within those circles, if that's really the question that you're asking
No,
about.
not necessarily.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if we would come in contact with them without knowing that they are candidates.
It's very possible. And if you do get it, I would not view that as favorable.
Right.
You know, there's a due process that you've
Right.
established. If somebody's moving outside the due process, then that I think would be unfavorably viewed.
Right. If we didn't know them, I'm standing here talking to you. I don't know.
That's an indicator.
It's an indicator. It's possible, and obviously, I'm present at those meetings,
Right.
and if you see me, you're welcome to say hello to me. I'm not going to be one of the applicants. I'm on your committee, but it's very possible that an applicant may approach you, and they may, hit you up for, we'll call it insider information. But as Commissioner Hansen said, that's an indicator I would not view as appropriate, because there's a due process. They should respect the due process.
Of course, I'm just wondering how to avoid it and put it that way.
You can declare straight up front, are you one of the applicants for Flagler County? If
Okay.
so, then I'm not interested in talking to you. Go through the due
You never know
process.
who's
Correct.
sitting next to you in the room.
Yes, ma'am.
Especially you, Pam.
especially me. I like everybody, that's the problem. I love everybody, so it's a problem.
So not that the process doesn't work, I know it does. So do we ever see names, like the 30, do we ever see names or cities, or if they're deputy? Are we getting all applications from deputy administrators? That's my biggest question.
So you'll wind up getting whoever applies, and so that information is housed within your team. We simply will go through those candidates, and we will provide, and again, back to our opinion, and so it's a 3-person review and discussion to formulate our collective opinion of who we think is going to be the best fit for you as a board, for the organization, for leadership in the community. So it's also the number of candidates in regard to the shortlist do you want to have. You know, do you want to have 3, 5, 7, 10? That's part of the direction for today also, is to find out exactly how do you find shortlist, to make sure that we are, if it's 3, then we'll go through that further struggle on our side because we may wind up seeing that there's 6 solid candidates, but we'll try to refine who are truly the top best 3 for recommendation on that short list.
And if anyone believes, if any of the applicants believe during the process that they should have been shortlisted, do they have a chance or an opportunity to talk with someone to discuss their concerns over why they weren't chosen for the shortlist?
Let me address that. I think Mr. Picano had a comment first.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, do you, and part of this is like our meeting today, if you want all of the applicants, I can give you guys all the applicants as we go through. I think as a board, you need to decide if you want to wait and get their short list of the short applicants, or if you prefer to have all the applicants as they come through who are qualified. I can do either one, whatever you guys prefer. We can just send you their PDFs and that's it.
What we'll find out is we'll have certain people in the press be pressuring you for lists as they come in. So we should be, also fully aware of when those releases, so we are informed before it goes out to the press of who's
the end of
applied.
each week. I can send you.
I
all
think
the
it'd be good to
qualified.
have a list and then ongoing once weekly. I still want them to do the short list.
Yes.
And do their process.
Right.
Yeah, but just so we have a heads up, because we don't know who we're interacting with that's on the list to begin with, and probably to her point, I don't want to interact with anyone in particular.
Although I think something we should do today is establish the short list.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think
is
you
it
guys-
3, 6?
I hate to put a number on it. It's
Yeah,
hard, you know what I mean?
hate putting a
I
number
hate
on
to
it.
limit.
Maybe a third of the top third, or, it's hard to say. You're getting in so many, but that doesn't mean that they would ever
Well,
even
I'm sure they're
be
not all going to
considered,
qualify either.
you
So
know.
we can always, we can defer to Mr. Picano based on that review process, that if we wind up in our review finding that there's, 7 strong candidates that may be the right fit, then we can share that with Mr. Picano, and he can come back and say, yes, proceed with all 7, or no, it needs to be shorter than that, after we discuss with him who those specific candidates are and the rationale that we have for that.
I don't know about everyone else, but I think that we should allow them to bring forward what they think is a good, solid, because some of these people may get other job offers somewhere else in the interim or anything like that. But I think that they should not be limited to a number, but more of here we found out of these 39 that are outstanding.
I think when it gets to the short list too, there an opportunity as we review them, maybe there's a person that we've reviewed and think is highly qualified but doesn't make your short list. Is there a process for adding somebody in addition to your short list?
So that is back to the time frame. I'll get to it. So that is the July 13th.
Okay.
And Michelle Liebern will be present. So that's where she'll be going through to confirm the tentative short list of candidates. And that's an appropriate time to be able to ask the questions in regard to, again, we're not going to have any type of disparaging remarks on why someone did not fit what we felt was the best fit.
Right.
But we would simply talk about those that did in the specific ranking and the reasons why we have the ranking based on why we see it as the best fit for the board and for the organization, for the community as a whole.
Okay, so as the takeaway so far, we would like to see a list of all applicants, at least weekly, that are applying so that we have knowledge of it.
I believe so.
And then
Yes.
the other takeaway is regarding a short list, we'll defer to them to bring us the best candidates that they, and not put a number per se on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Agree.
for everybody.
Well, if they come back with 3, we may be expecting more. You know, so I think we have to give them a range of, of how many people we expect to get. You have 39 applicants?
30.
No,
30.
we have 31,
30.
but
You may
all
have more.
qualified applicants is what you want to see at the end of the week.
Right.
Yeah, not if someone applied and they don't have any experience and it doesn't meet our minimums in the
Right.
job description, I won't send you those. I'll send you everyone who's met the minimums of the job description and
Okay.
are qualified.
Right,
Yeah, I just want to clarify.
right. And I suspect your board will bring out of 30, plus the number will keep going up as it's posted another month. You'll bring everyone who you feel is best qualified. Probably, I'm going to assume it's going to be more than 3, but,
And again, it'd be ranked within the short list, if you will.
gotcha.
Commissioner Carney, your specific question on redress for someone that feels that they should have been in the short list or not, we would turn that over to Mr. Picano because that's not a role that we play in regard to defending an applicant who felt that they should or should not have been. Again, we're simply providing the opinion and recommendation of who should be, if you will, on the short list and in the specific order that we think would be the best fit.
How do other counties do it? Do they give you a number, or do they just say, give us what you got?
It has varied, and that's the reason why there's not a standard to go by. Again, we serve you. This is still your process, and we want to make sure that as we go through the committee review that we're taking into account how you want to see this process proceed.
And all of the applicants know about Florida's Sunshine Law, that we have to release these so, because the complications I found in the past is applicants not fully aware of Florida Sunshine Law, then find out their name's been released and they haven't told anybody that they've applied. So those that aren't aware of Florida Sunshine Law probably should be notified if that's part of the process.
So
to
if you're
think they
making an
know it.
application for this particular role, having a good idea of what the laws are in Florida is, again, one of those indicator items as well.
Gotcha.
But, sometimes that's the reason why some counties will use an executive search firm because they, on their side, will be taking the applications. They keep that hidden to be able to protect that information from getting out to the
Right.
press until such time as you get to the short list. And before the consultant says, hey, you're going to be on the short list, they will normally let their current employer know, I've been shortlisted, et cetera. Some people are very forthcoming with their bodies and say, I'm making an application, I have an interest. Some bodies don't have a problem with that because if you're not looking, then perhaps you're not interested in further expanding yourself and growing your experience, which is not necessarily a great thing. So even my direct reports, I don't have a problem if they're making an application. Hey, if you think it's a good fit, pasture's greener, more pay, less responsibility, or it's in your career path to head up, more power to you. We only want people going up.
Yeah, we should be all growing our staff to be able to, for the best opportunities. We hope it's here and that there's room for them to grow here.
Right.
Is that clear as mud? Are we good?
It's what I have here. It's not a set number. It's open to make sure that the ones that we feel, again, in order, would be the most qualified to be able to fit with you and the organization, the community. That's the directive. And then on July 13th, when Michelle comes with that information, y'all can say, out of that, let's drop it down to the top 3, the top 4, the top 5, et cetera, to be able to start moving forward with the background check for those next steps.
Okay.
Any other questions? Again, I love county government. It's always a lot of fun. And Flagler County, again, like Sumter and Nassau County, to me, those are the best counties because those have the most challenges. They're the most dynamic and also typically have the opportunity to be the most innovative as well.
Just a quick comment on the job description. We had a very antiquated job description. We all agree with that. Okay. You all went through getting help from FACM? Okay. So could we see the end result from that, please? Thank you.
I mean, I can talk about it a little bit too.
Charlie, when did you email? You emailed us that a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
It's in the email, but it's, I mean.
It's pretty straightforward. It's state statute. Even instead of just writing, we follow these state statutes. I went by our county ordinance and the state statutes, wrote out all those duties and responsibilities.
Thank you.
That way they can see it clearly. And then I put what we talked about from a minimum into the bottom, so.
I missed it, sorry.
And online, again, team's done a really good job. You've got it posted very easily to find. So I went through, and also the hyperlink to the brochure was actually on each of the pages of job description, which is awesome. So that if you missed it, you shouldn't have missed it.
Is that on our website? Where is it located on our website?
Just under county jobs. On the normal application page. So Flagler County Jobs, apply, and then it should say County Administrator. It's posted.
I think it was the last
I'm just
one.
looking at the first landing page and wondering where somebody would go.
Yeah, apply, the government tab.
We might want to make that all right, so government tab and then go to jobs.
Apply, and then it takes you to a link.
Think about the ease of getting to that, and unless we're providing links or QR codes for people where it goes directly to them, it's not the easiest navigation. It kind of could be, where we're front pages broadcasting that to make it easy.
Yeah, I think on like most of the actual sites, it takes you directly to
Okay.
that. It doesn't take you to like our website to look for it. It'll take you directly into that.
Okay. A couple more questions. Appreciate you talking about the positivity, because not only are we interviewing applicants, they're interviewing us on a day-to-day basis. So they're watching the meetings, they're going back. So I think it's important that during this process, we're on our best behavior as well. And I didn't know if you had any comments in that regard as to what you've seen today, or as us working as a board, and the positives that we could, as we go through our work on a day-to-day basis, meeting to meeting through this process. What's the best behaviors to demonstrate to applicants?
Well, first of all, be yourself, because that's who you are. The other part would be that, yes, it's great that you live stream and that you can actually go back and look at the history of the different meetings, which I did before coming here, and did sort of research on you individually, you as a board and your actions. You're not much different than any other board. If everyone thought the same, you wouldn't need 5 elected officials. You just need one person. So that you come with different perspectives is important. The job is working with your county administrator to find out where you can actually get to a consensus. Because ultimately, your administrator has to have specific policy direction. Living in the vague or split board doesn't help move the organization forward or the community forward. So how you, as chair, preside over the meeting and allow for, appropriate discussion to occur, but still focused on getting to where is that compromise, and whether it's formally voted on, where you actually have the majority rules in that particular process, then everyone gets behind the majority decision because you respect the body as a whole. So I think that's the important part, is the administrator is not going to be working for you as an individual commissioner. That administrator is going to be working for you as a board. So direction comes from the board, not an individual commissioner. That's the hardest piece to overcome, I would say, with new commissioners coming on board, is to sort of work with that framework. And a lot of times your county attorney can help in that particular process because you don't want commissioners getting into ministerial duties. I would say that that's probably the largest detraction for a candidate if they're coming to work for the board, that, if you will, behind the scenes, commissioners are doing ministerial duties. You're not going to be able to be very successful as a county administrator. So if the commissioners, I'll call it, commit to using the county administrator as the operations manager for the county, and you set policy, then it makes life easy for both parties. It's policy direction, and then the administrator carries out the implementation of the policies through operations. So I'm not aware, based on what I've seen in the videos, that that's not already occurring, meaning that you're working as a policy body. But if that's something that candidates may interview, back to whether y'all are a good fit for them, they may do their own homework, not just looking at the videos, but they may interact with some of the existing employees to get a feel for what's happening behind the scenes, to make sure that the board's representing themselves as a policy board solely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments about this process?
I just feel that we have a very professional board here. And we're looking for, in my opinion, a professional administrator. We are respectful of each other. We know we will agree and we will agree to disagree, but we don't have loud screaming meetings like some I watch all over the state to see how we're behaving versus the rest of the state, when I can get it on my Spectrum channel.
Yes, ma'am. And Chair, I do believe that, again, y'all are an attractive organization to come and work with. So I think your price point, the job description, your brochure, I think you're doing all the appropriate recruitment activities thus far.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much
Yes,
for
ma'am.
coming to
Thank
visit
you
us.
for all your hard efforts.
All right. We're going to move on to merit pay plan discussion.
All right. So something that I think the most important thing to start with is our agenda today. We're going to be talking about the history, how we kind of got here, why it's important to build a culture of performance, eligibility and exclusions for merit pay timing, calculation matrix, and then what do we want to do for this year we got to talk about. Remember, as we talk through this stuff today, this is a workshop. I want your opinion, and we can talk through it kind of like we did with the posting. So the history of it, I came in November 24. When I started here, one of the first things that were brought to my attention was, hey, we want to do a merit pay for employees. In an honest review, I went back to Heidi and Jorge at the time, and I told them that we cannot implement a merit pay when we are inconsistent with evaluations. We don't have proper way to track evaluations. We needed accountability from an evaluation standpoint for supervisors, and our managers need training. Those were big concerns to me, and even though we had the money, at the time, I think if you don't do this the right way and you implement it, it won't be implemented correctly, and then it'd just be a waste of money. Likewise, when I first got here, we still do just have a cost of living adjustment as a standard, a COLA, and pay isn't tied to performance. Since I've been here, we implemented NeoGov. We have online training and development. We have online evaluations now with access to reporting, which is huge. And we're able to live, look at how we're doing in evaluations, where we're at. We moved to a once-a-year evaluation timeframe, which is currently going on. We digitized our files, which is important from if you're filling out an evaluation, you want to make sure that's being recorded properly, going in an employee's file and not getting lost. We've given supervisor training as it related to performance management, including evaluations, and we've done multiple of those trainings. And then we last year talked about the COLA was 2%, and we reserved 2% for a merit pay to bring back for future discussions. That's why I'm here today. And like I said, we're currently working through evaluations, and I have some numbers just to give you. So the history is really important. I think it's important to look back and say like where we were, how we got here, why that's important. And again, to create a performance culture is the most important thing. So the purpose of merit pay is to develop and maintain a performance-driven culture, which when we look at our strategic plan, that's a huge part of our plan. By recognizing employees and rewarding employees who consistently exceed performance expectations. So when you align pay with performance, it motivates people when they realize that, hey, if I work harder, I'm going to make more money than the person next to me. It also encourages professional growth, and then again, you're rewarding exceptional performance. It takes away the stigma of, if we're both doing the same job, we will show up every day, but I work a lot harder than so-and-so. Why are we getting paid the same? Why are we getting the same raise every single year? We do have some comparables in local government. We have the following counties: Volusia, Nassau, Charlotte, Leon, Alachua, Palm Beach. They all do merit pay programs. The city of Palm Coast also does a merit pay program mixed with COLA. The reoccurring themes when we look through these is they're all a mix of COLA and merit. Most of them require 6 months to a year of employment. Union employees aren't eligible, obviously. They negotiate further terms and conditions of employment. And then corrective actions play a big role in whether you get it or not. And again, when you think about performance, if you know that if you get a corrective action form and you're being disciplined, you now understand that that affects your raise for the year. So it's more important to work hard and make sure you don't get disciplined. Some of the examples listed, Palm Coast allows up to 10% for merit and COLA. Now, these numbers are listed on here, but their structure for merit pay isn't as transparent as like what I'm presenting. They have a verbiage about merit pay, but they change the chart every year. I think it's important to have a structure where every year an employee knows, hey, here's what I'm working towards. So if I'm significantly exceeding expectations, I'm looking to get this raise. I think it's important for them to look at that and think about it all year long, what they're working towards. And there's some other examples there. So some general statistics, and I pulled these from SHRM and a couple other sites, but the National League of Counties too. But it's estimated that 80 to 90% of private companies use merit pay. Merit pay in local government is increasing. It's something that we're seeing more and more of, and you can see why from a performance-driven culture, and that's what most companies do. It's estimated that 58% of U.S. governments provided merit, and then 44 providing merit in a COLA mix. And so the average for 2026, this is private, and I mean mainly private, is at 3%. So remember, that's the average. That doesn't mean that the highest performer is going to get 3%. That's what it averages out to. Okay, so the role of supervisors, I think, again, when we look back at the history, the most important part here is you have to have supervisors who are fair and consistent with performance management, that are completing the performance evaluations timely, and doing a thorough job when they're completing them. And it's important that they understand that their role is the biggest part in issuing this correctly. If they do a good job and they're on time and they're delivering a good evaluation, then we can implement merit pay.
Charlie?
Yep.
And can I speak on my personal experience on this?
Yes, of course.
This slide right here. I participated in both the changeover of the military evaluation process and the civil service process in regards to this exact thing. In the military, you're not given a bonus, but it's your promotion is you know, how it was. So we had to stop supervisors from rating their 5 employees, all top, say, top 1%.
Yeah.
All of them, all 5. And then relying on somebody else to make the decision on who to promote. Okay, so that was a problem, and we fixed it. We fixed that by saying you can only have 2% of your in the top block, and then the rest of them have to be spread out underneath it. In the civil service, it was a little different because there it was a monetary reward for being, and so we still had the problem of supervisors saying, I have 5 people that work for me, and all 5 of them deserve merit increases. So who decides? You know, who decides who gets the merit? So that they came up with a similar one to the way the Navy did it, or well, it was the Navy in this case, of trying to break those out, force the rater to break them out so that they can't all be the same. So just in your process, just keep that in mind. Something like that has to happen.
No, I think that's important, and part of what we've done to, I guess, mitigate that, and we'll see as these current evaluations are going on, you know, if someone's rating somebody a 2 or a 1 in certain categories, or their overall rating is a 2 or a 1 or a 5, it comes to my office for review, and I want to make sure that if you're rating someone a 5, there better be strong documentation in there throughout the year of goals they achieved and what they've done to be rated a 5, not just, you know, 5 down the board and that you're a great employee. The supervisor needs to write and show that the employee has significantly achieved to get a 5. So that's the current process. Same thing if someone's rating someone low. You know, want to make sure that someone's not tanking somebody's evaluation, and you know, they're not providing solid feedback and coaching sessions, whatever they've done throughout the year, to rank them that way. So
Okay.
it's definitely
Definitely puts a whole lot more responsibility on the supervising department head.
Yes.
I don't see how you could do a merit without having goals and objectives for every employee in every department. It wouldn't even make sense unless you had, I mean, I know you mentioned that the supervisors have been trained already. Obviously, I'm not going to get involved in the weeds on this, but it may take more than one go-around for this to get right. And in no merit situation are 10% of the people 5. You've got to have a bell curve on this. There has to be some data on each side. But I'm going to wait until you get into who qualifies, because I think you're hitting it under who qualifies.
okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I think it's important to, we did establish goals in October. November, October, for this period. And that was part of it too. You know, if you're going into this evaluation period, once we trained all the managers, we had them write journal entries establishing goals going into this evaluation period. So I completely understand, and I think, and we can
Does your
talk.
program have a place or a way for an employee to do a self-review as they're being reviewed by their supervisor?
No, I was gonna say fire does. We currently don't. That's something that was a direction that was decided.
That will also help you with the 1s and the 5s. That'll also give you, not that they're negotiating for a 3 instead of a 2, but it at least gives the employee some chance to speak for why they think they're a 3. It gives a little bit more validity maybe to maybe the goals weren't right, or maybe they saw it different. They should have a chance to speak up on some of this as well. That's my opinion.
No, I think, it's definitely a valid opinion, and something we talked about when we were implementing this with administration in the past. So the decision was to move forward with just evaluations for now. We can, next evaluation period, if I work with the new administrator, we can decide on adding that in.
Are they, so they get their goals and objectives, are they able to put in comments for each objective and how they met it, or no, not in your system?
For this, this upcoming year, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. But,
The employee, is
So
it
the
just
employee,
supervisor only?
the employee can put comments at the end, but that's after it's already
Like
administered.
an upload of a comment? And
Yeah, it'd be
are
at
they
the
being
end.
taught how to write their comments, or, oh, it's at the end after they've been reviewed? So yeah, because everywhere I've ever been, it goes, here's your goals and objectives. You self-evaluate how you hit your goals and objectives, upload it, and then your manager has this opportunity to look at that and say, well, I didn't think about this. See, that way I didn't know you worked on that project. Because not every manager's in the weeds on what people do.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great process.
Yeah,
I
so
would-
I think that's really important for an employee to be able to tell their accomplishments so that the person making the decision is able to weigh it fairly. Otherwise,
Sort
you
of like a
don't,
rebuttal.
general services may have no idea, that in addition to this, they did X, Y, and Z, this person did, or forgot about it, because you can forget so much.
No, I completely agree. I think
So
it's-
that's like really important to be able to tell your story before the manager gets a hold of it, so that they have the opportunity to. That's all. I'm not saying that has to happen, but there's some, to me, that's really important as an employee. Or else now you're going to have people going,
yeah, this doesn't match,
he forgot about my time I did this extra duty that was not my responsibility or whatever. So, or the time I covered when someone was out on FMLA, or, you know what I mean? So,
No, yeah, I
I
completely
don't know what
agree.
kind of system you have. I think that's really important. So,
Yeah, no,
I'm not trying
it's
to-
something, it's doable, yeah.
Yeah.
If we switch to doing that, that's, it's more than doable in our system, so. Like I said, I think it's more of direction from administration, moving forward, even if we get into, evaluations next year, I work with a new administrator and we implement it, then,
your point is absolutely right, because if you have the scoring system, a lot of people can rank. Then you have people manipulating the scoring.
That's right.
Right, and you have all that problem. And I know where I'm at and at Chase, what they did was they actually just appointed based on how many employees. They say senior leader, you only get one exceeds this year.
That's what we did. That's what we did.
And you only
Yeah.
get,
You only get
and then-
one, you get
yeah.
two.
So when
Yeah.
you're doing that ranking, so they allotted how much based on the total merit they were handing out,
yeah.
how much they could hand out.
Yeah, again, if you don't do something like that, then you are going to make the decision who gets a pay raise and who doesn't. If you have 5 people all ranked the same and you can only reward one of them, how are you going to pick? Supervisors have to make that decision.
Yeah, and that's if you have it set up that way. If you have, a group of 20 and 5 of them are 5s and, the manager writes a bunch of solid feedback and is able to show that they met all their goals and they are high performing, then, I think it's up to us as an organization. And I would, I guess that standard is also controls payroll a little bit too and goes from there. So I think both of it is, I'm open to adding it in. That's why we can talk through it.
Can I ask a corporate question? It's because I have a corporate mind, not a governmental or military mind. How do you prevent favoritism on a merit, with a merit? How do they prevent favoritism on a merit plan?
Objective things, goals and facts, within the rating. I think if you're holding managers to a standard of if you're going to rate someone that high, you can't just leave it blank and say, hey, you're a 5 and because I like you. You have to have evidence and fact that shows that that person's a 5. So, and you're always going to have subjectivity in rating.
Right.
This is never a perfect
It's not a perfect
process.
system,
And,
I get it.
and I think even like the overall, I guess my overall mindset moving into this is, we're going to have to work through this together. This hasn't been done in years. And I think it's important for us to take a step forward, work through it. And if we want to change things, edit things, or get it right, if we've seen something that we're concerned with, we can work through it. But you have to start somewhere, I think, in my opinion, because you don't want to lose the idea that if I'm working hard here, I'm going to get rewarded. I think that to me is important. And if you're not working hard, then we don't want you here. Is more of the argument there. And that's why when you look at certain organizations that are high functioning, I came from one, that's the culture that's driven, is if you're not performing, you're not doing well, then, we want to help you get better. And if you don't get better, then, that's what changes. But if you're giving everyone the same raise every single year with no expectations, then that's where you'd say, I could work for Flagler County for 20 years. Sorry, I know I'm saying a little too much, but I think that's where,
Wow.
All right, sorry. No, I think it's just important that
No,
we
you're right.
change the culture of the county and
That's why
establish
we
performance.
that's why we want to merit, so that people had opportunities.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that's how we get high.
But I do think
high-quality
the
talent.
self-review is so important because your manager can't know all, remember everything that you've done. And so to me, I just think that's important that the employee gets to tell their side of how they hit their objectives up front. Even if it's just an upload, I do a whole portfolio. I keep everything I do on Excel spreadsheet and every day I log so that by the time I come to do my portfolio, so that I can fight for the exceeds, I have it. So there are employees that would probably be like that, remember, just always documenting the above and beyond that they did. But it's just a good thing. It's a good thing to have, even if it's just an upload button. They can upload a Word doc or something.
No, completely, completely
Yeah.
agree.
Oh, sorry, you want to go on?
Beneficial.
Yeah.
I think the other important part here is that, I don't know if this thing's on. Is it? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. The other important part here is the importance of managers completing this on time. The way we're going to move forward is by holding managers accountable to, take this seriously and write the evaluations and implement them. Same thing with training. That's something we've worked on too, is that managers need to be held accountable for these managerial tasks. This is part of the job of being a manager, is writing an evaluation and delivering it. So for non-compliance, and this will be, decided by the county administrator. We have like I said, we have the reporting. We can show if a manager is significantly fallen behind and there's no good reason for it. Then the county administrator will be able to say, hey, you're not going to get merit pay this year because of you not being able to handle this process. So that's the other important fact here. So when we look at the requirements, you're going to have some exclusions. To be eligible, you have to be an active employee, a regular full-time or part-time to qualify. The minimum duration is 6 months of employment by the end of the performance period. The performance rating must be meets expectations to be eligible. And then you cannot have a corrective action within the last 6 months or performance improvement plan to be eligible. So I think it's typically pretty standard.
Personally, I think that minimum should be a year, not 6 months.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for myself.
Okay, yeah, we can talk about it, I think.
I don't, does everyone get hired at Flagler County at the midpoint, the below midpoint? Your midpoints are all over the place. I have a huge problem with the way we do our salary structure, so I don't know, just my opinion. You don't evaluate them until after the 12th year, or until after they've been here 12 months, correct?
No,
Do
no,
it
it'll
annually?
6
Do you
months
do it
of
on their
employment.
annual review,
No,
or do you do
so
it?
we used to do it on the annual. What this is doing and what we've done this year is we're changing it to once a year, everyone will be evaluated at the same time. So rather than doing annual based on, whatever year you started, from there, you have to be here for 6 months and you'll be part of the annual review. The timing of it would move to January, February, so it would be a calendar year. January, February, the raters would, conduct the evaluations.
And if they miss it by 2 days, if they miss the 6 months by 2 days?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's more of a this is just from my personal experience, that we transitioned it all to yearly evaluations at Publix, even for hourly employees and lower level. I think what it does is it creates a standard for management when they're reviewing to make sure everything's done on time and completed appropriately.
So do we offer a 90-day probationary period and with the opportunity of having a small bump at the end of the probationary period?
No, we currently don't.
We don't. So when do you sit down and talk to them about whether or not they're performing or not?
We have a check-in. It's not tied to money, but it's a.
All right, but you do have a check-in?
Yeah, we do have. They have I can't remember if it's 6 months. Yeah, a 6-month evaluation period.
okay.
So like if you're here for 6 months, no matter what, as a new hire, you're going to get a check-in from your boss. There's no money tied to that, but
But just this could result in more money if you're giving them a 6-month.
Well, in a 6-month, the reward is you get hired. You continue your job.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much of the goals and objectives can be reached in a 6-month period.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with that 6-month thing. But
So clarification, probationary periods are how long?
12 months here, yeah.
12 months?
Yep.
Oh, no. Change it to 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think the hard part with that is if you're here for a year, then you might go 2 years without a raise.
Then we get the COLA still, right?
We could, I think we'd have to, yeah, we can, I guess we could
Says
edit
no.
it there, yeah, we
Show
could.
that example mathematically. Show that example. Somebody gets hired in June.
You go through a year in June, or well, let's say someone gets hired in, or probably December is probably a better one, right? Or January, yeah, January, because they would go through a year and then they hit their year end of January and have to wait another year before.
But you're
So
doing
that's 2 years
evaluations
with-
in January.
But they wouldn't get a raise because they didn't hit their year until end of January when the evaluation period is December 31st.
It's a year.
No, the evaluation period's January to December 31st. If you were hired in February, let's say February 1st, you've now hit your year February 1st, you're not going to hit a raise until next, year. So it's a 2-year time period before your raise. I think that would be a little unreasonable but we could consider COLA there. If it's in that same example, if they were hired and they hit their year in February, they'll get the COLA and then,
Right.
So, but we can talk more about it, so.
I don't know, just because I think 6 months is the norm in the industry, everywhere I've ever been.
Oh,
And I've had employees.
It's hard because you're always going
Budget's
to
going
be.
to tell how many months.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know, and there's very few employees probably on probation, or on this probably, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way
On
to look at
our
it.
correction.
How many employees do we
And quite
have?
honestly, if they stay on it, they're going to be out, right? Let's say they get corrective action, they come out of it, they get back on it, they're probably going out, right?
Yeah.
Based on your.
Yes.
Yeah. I think what this is doing, at least from an organizational standpoint, showing that like, hey, if you should be worried about being written up because now it can affect your pay. There's more. It's more of a serious,
Right.
thing to be written up. Because this is tied to your performance now, rather than just getting the COLA every year.
Are you notified when that corrective action occurs?
Yeah, I look at all of them, yeah. So the next part of this is obviously you're going to have some people that are excluded, you guys included, and union employees based on state statutes. You want to be a part of this, and then negotiated contracts for union employees. Contract employees, temporary workers, I think obviously you have 2 contracted employees, depending on what's in their contract, that's how you'll give them a raise. And then the temporary employees probably just will get a cost of living adjustment, and that's if they're here. We don't have a lot of temps, but and then special departments. So we do have the courts and IFIS. Same thing, state statutes. I can't manage IFIS, and they have their own evaluation period. So they do get the COLA. So they would get COLA annually in October. We have to have those exceptions there. So. Okay, so when we look at the timing and the way we structured the merit pay, so again, you have to have a meets expectations or higher to get the combined cost of living plus a merit. And you can see the percentages. We'll talk more about the chart in a minute. But we ended up deciding to do a combo of both. Now, the way it'll be calculated is it'll be built into their hourly pay, just like any other raise. We did do a salary cap of $100,000 for merit calculations. However, we decided it won't apply to the COLA. So if you make over $100,000, it'll apply to the COLA. You'll get the COLA increase, whatever ends up being, let's say, if it's 2.5%, you'll get that. But if you get another 2.5% on top of it, it'll just be 2,500. So limits it a little bit. The timing for merit pay, I think we kind of discussed this already. We would look at doing a yearly period ending end of December, January, February, evaluating, and then hopefully the goal would be to administer the pay the first check of April or first paycheck of May. And that gives us time to review all the evaluations, make sure everything was good, get it through payroll, and then apply it. So that's the timing there.
So you're suggesting no COLA for unacceptable or does not meet? Is that what we're doing now? I thought everybody got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody gets it now. I'm suggesting that if you are ranked in those two categories, you shouldn't get a raise for the year.
You're under, at that point, you're under some type of corrective action.
Yeah, exactly. And it should be documented that, you were poor performing and.
It's very few, right? I mean,
Yeah, it's
that
going to be
fall
a
in this
few
bucket.
amount. Exactly. Yeah, it'll be a few amount. And again, it's the culture of like, if I'm going to get a raise, I need to perform. And that's what it really brings it to, is the idea if you're on corrective actions and, you're underperforming, you won't get a raise. So the other part of this is the chart. You can see at the top, that's how we've calculated how to be applied. So the percentages after the COLA will be set, and you can see them based on there. And those are the scoring brackets in each category. So let's say if you're in exceeds expectations, you're closer to significantly exceeds, you'll get a 2% rather than a 1.5. So that's the kind of the way we broke it down. Now, the math and the percentages of these scores, we worked a lot with NeoGov, the vendor, to create like the way that it's broken down up there. There's a lot of work that went into it. So it's difficult to, it's not as simple as like in school you get an A, B, C, or D. You want to be able to make sure that a manager can rate someone poorly in certain categories that they want them to improve in, but it doesn't tank their whole evaluation lower on some failures in certain categories. You want them to improve in those categories, but still, if you think they meet expectations overall but need to improve here, you're not tanking them. So there's a lot of math behind the calculations, but this would be, in my mind, would have been probably what we're going to talk about the most today. So I just want your thoughts on that chart.
So, question: if you have an employee with overall, right, say exceeds expectations, except for a couple areas where there do not. So there's areas for the supervisor to provide training for them, but that's not something that is on their record. That's just, it's not an improvement plan or something like that. That's just one area where the supervisor is helping the employee.
Yeah, it's like exactly, it's supervisor opportunity to say you're struggling in this area.
Right.
Here's what you can do to improve for
Okay.
the next evaluation. But it's not tanking their overall evaluation if they're a good employee.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I thought about this for a minute. So everyone's going to get some sort of merit based on meets, plus their COLA. And the budget is, we've prepared for that, right? So
Yeah,
everybody's going to get COLA plus a minimum of 0.5%.
Yeah, and I think that's open to discussion with you guys if you rather, however.
I mean, nobody's going to score under 2.60 and still be a meets in your NeoGov.
No, you're right, yeah.
Well, in the discussion will come in the COLA, I mean, you're going to have COLA, right? And COLA is going to be based on, but we've done adjustments there before. Are you going to, now is the board going to try to adjust merit percentages every year in their budget?
What I've done is a pool, so once you have some history behind what we're doing,
Yeah.
that history will set a little bit of guidelines for what, just like we did for this budget year, right? We said 500,000 out of reserves. Well, hopefully it doesn't have to come out of reserves every year. But we'll know if 500,000 is enough or not. Or the administrator will have to bring to us in the budget period what it anticipated. We have no history on this, correct? There's no history on how this is going to shake out financially.
Yeah, yeah, this year, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's something we're going to have to evaluate during the budget.
There would be, if you put caps on exceeds and significantly exceeds, because you're like, each department can only have one significant exceeds and one or two exceeds, then that's where everyone else you can budget and say, well, I know, that's how you could budget this better. And that's how it works everywhere. Like, hey, Leanne, you only get one significant. And if you've got, if you get to a point where like some of us, like when I was managing one group, I used to have to go in front of someone at Adam's level and argue why I had a significant against 5 other managers and let that person pick. I mean, it would just, it's not given out like candy and significant
Right.
exceeds. But, so I don't know if you want to control your budgeting on this merit pay or have a good idea of what it is, then you limit the amount of exceeds and significantly exceeds. Everybody's going to get a meets, but each department should only be allowed to have one of the other 2 buckets. I know that sounds,
Yes,
but I don't know how you're numbering.
It's not weird.
But that's typically how it goes, and,
So the direction for me then would be find some cap or curve.
or exceeds and
Yeah.
significantly exceeds, or else you could end up with 300 exceeds. Or, you know what I mean?
Right.
You could
It's
have
ridiculous.
your budget will not.
That's what we had to solve in the military. We had to solve that because everybody was making everybody top 1%.
Right.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, okay.
I got a off-the-wall question, like normal. We're supposed to be cutting our budget by 10%. Yet we're putting in these larger amounts of raises for the staff.
Well,
How does that work, other than coming?
The exercise it's an exercise of 10% that we're going to do, but it comes off of all sorts of things, how they spend, what they spend on our fleet issues, all of that. The reason we brought this, and I don't remember if you were new to the board or it was the previous board that agreed on this, we wanted this implemented, one, because as he said in the beginning, they didn't even have a process of evaluating people and ranking them. And 2, everybody got COLA, including does not meet expectations. So there was no incentive to work harder, smarter, bring efficiencies to your department. And people would get burnout and all they'd get their COLA, they couldn't get a merit. There was no opportunity there. And also we might even lose people over it. So that's kind of why we set this up. So it's one of those things you want to fund because that's how you
Inspire.
inspire people to work harder, smarter, So it's something you want. And you're still adjusting the COLA as a board, if you have
Yeah,
issues or whatever.
I think that's
Not,
probably the
not
right
fair,
way to
right?
look at
I
it.
can hear everybody going, no, but you still are adjusting COLA, but everybody's going to get COLA and a merit. But you just can't have a lot of exceeds or significantly exceeds. That's where you're going to run into problems.
Now,
So how
could
do
you
you
figure out
compare-
what a fair number that would be? I mean, you've got one department that has, like, tourism, they have 5 people, 6 people.
That's what I was just
I
going to
mean,
ask.
how do you come up with a fair number? I mean,
think
you've
you
got
don't give a
somebody over
number,
in
it's
general
probably a
services,
percentage.
look how many people they have.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
I was
thinking.
gonna say,
That's
I-
exactly where I went.
I have
Exactly
an
where I
HR
went.
system,
you
and
do
it
a
actually
percentage of-
tells me how many I
Okay.
get out
Okay.
of the merit that gets dumped into my
Okay.
department.
Yeah, and I think, I guess the other thing to consider is like the total increase. So let's say if merit's 2% this year, an exceeds expectations employee is going to get a 4.5% raise.
Okay.
That's not unreasonable, and I'm just being honest from a research perspective and like what typically companies are doing. If
My merit's
you're the
10.
highest performer, getting 4.5% is not.
Yeah.
You're not like breaking the bank with that, but just being honest.
Yeah.
So I think that's why
I work your rank number, like you're ranked from a 1 to your job has a ranking. So like I'm a level 9, then you get 10%. They have like whatever levels you are, that's your merit. Like all your directors would be 11% salary. They're all different, but that seems right for
For
what's
government,
there.
yeah, I think I think it's reasonable, but it still gives the employee some initiative to want to make a little extra money and work harder.
Well, and considering your salaries here, 1%'s not a lot
Yeah,
at all. If you think about it, it's like $500.
yeah, and I think
A lot of people.
I completely agree, and I think
Dollars.
that would be my only thought. And like I said, we have reporting now, even through this current evaluation cycle. I'm curious to see when we get to the end of the month, how many people we actually have rated as significantly exceeds. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of ratings at the top as significantly exceeds, because we haven't already. You know, we have, I think like 62% are in the rating like for approval scale, and we haven't seen that. So, so I don't know. I don't know if like we can see how it goes this year, or if you want me to come back and give the number, we can. But I would consider the amount of percentage, because we considered that when we created this chart. And we did talk about all of the things we're talking about today.
Basically, you're saying the percentage given to merit, you kind of back into that dollar amount we gave you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
And then it shouldn't exceed in theory,
Yeah, in
based
theory.
on the total number of employees, based on that percentage, based on the amount dedicated to merit. I just think it's good to always have not everybody can be the significantly exceeds or exceeds. I think it's the right thing to do is to give a limitation. Y'all can decide what you want, but I don't think every department should be able to, there's always going to be, because you'll find, you may end up with 4 and.
Well, if the
tourism
department head wants to fight hard enough, I mean, there's a justification for anything, right? So,
Right.
Oh.
yeah, I mean, they can for sure. You wouldn't object to somebody saying, look, I need 2% instead of 1%. I mean,
Yeah, I
what if
think we could
something
write it in the
extraordinary
policy,
happened
the
that
20,
year?
whatever
You know, you
percent we
don't
do
know.
of the department, plus if a supervisor wants to justify for anyone outside of the means. But yeah,
Otherwise, you're definitely going to have to limit how many 5s are given out. I mean, you don't have any other
I think you
choice.
should. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, over time, salaries go up, then you're coming back for more than this and more than that. But, sorry, I have to think for just a minute. And they're capped at the 100%, at 100,000 on the COLA. So your directors are the max your directors can get is going to be based on the 100,000. So the max they're going to get is $2,500. And my question
they'll
is.
get COLA, yeah.
Plus
but
COLA.
Right, plus COLA, 2,500 plus COLA. So my question is, this is where it comes into, your administrator probably should only have X amount of director. How many directors are going to get significantly exceeds? This is why you may want to limit how many exceeds and significantly exceeds you give out per area or administration or whatever.
Yeah, I think if that's the direction, I'm good to move forward with that and bring it back.
The slippery slope.
It's the right, I just.
It's a
only
slippery,
'cause
the whole thing is a slippery slope. It just is.
I have all these, I've just been here so many times and he's right. And I just, I think the better thing to do is to say, this is your allocation of exceeds and significantly exceeds per department.
Does
Yeah, you just,
everyone agree?
yeah, you just don't want to be
I'll leave
faced
it
with
to
someone
you.
that has 5 employees and all 5 of them are in the top block. You just don't
Or you
want
get
that.
15 directors. I don't know.
Yeah, none of this is groundbreaking
No.
stuff. There's best practices, there's tons of places that we can analyze and pull from to be able to do it. I'm curious, right, so we set a dollar amount for this year, and I do think there has to be some, Commissioner Hansen talked about his experience. If it's not enough money, these percentages will be affected.
Yeah, well, I think this year we'll talk about, because I want to talk about a different chart for this fiscal year for 2026. This would be applying to
27.
next 27.
Right, but you'll end up with the same, it just can't be open-ended. We've got to establish a budget, a
Well,
max.
and I think what'll be beneficial is when we finish this evaluation period, Commissioner Carney was mentioning this, that you'll have
base.
data to have a rough idea of where everyone kind of stands in the organization. When you're looking at this chart and budgeting moving forward, you'll have a pretty good estimate from after this year's evaluation cycle.
Yeah.
But for this year's evaluation cycle, I have another chart that I think we would do in a one-time payment, just from, we don't have the time frame to implement it into pay, so we'll have that in here. But I think it's all good feedback. And like I said, I think the most important thing is starting somewhere, and then we can work through it together. I think employees value the feeling of being rewarded for working harder. And so we can, there's all different, like you said, Commissioner Dance, there's different ways to look at it. And we've talked through all these different ways. I know Adam, John, and I were talking through all of it. And we're open to just doing what we can to get it started. That way there's some reward for positive, work or hard work. Okay.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions here? Now,
That matrix is for 27.
27, yeah, and that would be effective, like, for the evaluation period. Moving into 27, it would be that January, February evaluation period. They would issue it in May of 27. And then that would be our annual cycle moving forward from that point on.
But that would include the restraints of limiting the fives, right?
Yeah, I would take your edits and come back to you guys
Okay.
before this is like adopted. I would show you, that feedback and bring it
just-
back.
I know you've worked very hard on it, but, there's a lot of different mindsets on financing those.
Well, yeah, no, just same concept where, we've talked about it internally and we talked all the same things. It's just, how do you guys want to handle it considering you're approving the budget, and how do we want to move forward? It's all reasonable. Okay. So, exceptions to the policy, obviously if there is, we reserve the right to take a policy away if we need to. If there's any type of economic downturn, big budget constraints, like, you guys would reserve the right to remove the policy or not administer it at 1 year. And then I mentioned this already, but, eligibility for merit pay is determined discretion of county administrator when uncertainty arises. So I mentioned the idea of, like, if there is one manager who is falling behind, not getting them done, that would be the county administrator's, authority to say, I'm not giving that manager the pay, or in any certain situations. So any questions with these? I think it's important to have it in there. Okay, so for FY 2026, this was the chart we came up with based on, where we're at and based on what was budgeted. So you can see we simplified it to a 1, 2, 3, and meaning that we budgeted the 2%. I think that's how we got to the number that was reserved or talked about before. And this is what we were looking to implement for this evaluation period, for the evaluations that are currently taking place and will be finished. So, and then just a reminder, if we adopt the other one, this would exclude anyone getting the COLA in October, because that would be included into the merit pay for next year. Sorry, I know it's a little confusing, but they would not receive COLA in October this year, because that COLA would be implemented in the merit pay in 27, based on our chart we just talked about. So.
So what does the budget look like, Adam? You okay with all this?
We have sufficient funding identified for the merit this year.
You know that, but you
Again.
don't have your evaluations back yet.
Correct. Yeah, and
So you're hoping that the 500,000 covers this year,
in-
the bonus?
In our discussions on it, we believe it will. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then when you budget for 26, 27, you're only looking at salary increases from
May.
June, May through October.
That's right.
6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on track.
Okay.
So, yeah, like I said, this was our solution to the money that was already budgeted this year, and tied to the current evaluations.
Okay.
Can I throw one more?
Budgeted. It's not really budgeted.
Well-
It's technically a reserve withdrawal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but.
Placed it in reserve.
We placed it in
This is the only
reserve. It
place
was
you can place
actually.
it.
Is
Oh,
there
we
a-
Yeah,
placed it.
It was
I'm
budget.
sorry.
It was
It was
budgeted.
budgeted.
It's
Okay.
budgeted.
And what happened was we didn't have a merit plan set up.
Oh, we had to hold
We took
it.
it out of the
I'm sorry.
budget and
That's
stuck
okay.
it to reserves. So it's not really from our reserves. Yes, it was
Is
budgeted.
is there a requirement for longevity in this plan at all. So I got hired in, I'll say October. I'm going to automatically get the pay when everybody else gets the pay, not serving that full year or.
No, it was the 6-month requirement, yeah. So
6
you have to be here
months.
for 6
So
months
6
before
months,
you can be
you're
eligible. And-
grandfathered into this program.
Yeah, you'll start.
6 months.
One other device that the Navy used, if you put more than one person in the top bracket, you had to rank them. You had to say, this is 1 of 2. We allowed 2. This is 1 of 2, this is 2 of 2. Just another thought.
Okay. So, are you guys okay with this for this year?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, all right, then we'll move forward with that. And just in conclusion, again, I think it's really important to create a performance-driven culture here. When people realize that if I'm getting rewarded for working harder, they're going to want to work harder. They're going to be, less likely to continue to push a needle to get be written up if they know pay will be taken away from being written up. We're setting clear objectives for employees. Now they'll be able to look at this chart and say, okay, if I work really hard, I want to be that exceeds, I'm going to get some extra money here. And we're transparent with them from the beginning of what it looks like to get there. And then same thing with the structured program. Again, it's fair, consistent, and we're going to continue to train managers and make sure they're doing this properly. And it's not going to be perfect. This first year is not going to be perfect for evaluations. We're going to try to get it as close as perfect as we can. And we're going to keep training everyone to get there. But my point with this is you have to start somewhere, and we'll get there.
I just do hope that they get an opportunity to self-review, because
Oh, yeah,
I
I
don't
agree.
think managers that manage lots of people cannot keep on top of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you got to be able to tell your story so that you're considered, because managers have favorites sometimes,
And I
They know more
like-
about what one person's doing than the others. And
I
so
do
it's
like an
important to be able to
incentive.
tell your accomplishments before the review's done. Just, that's my takeaway. It's always important to have their side.
Yeah, I think it'll be,
Documented.
well, we've talked about that too. We
Yeah.
definitely talked through it with administration previously, and, I can see now that we've gone through a cycle and, everyone understands the system, knows how to use it. Next year, we implement a self-evaluation. It's more user-friendly. Everyone knows how to use it. So it's always the learning curve of like implementing. This is a big change for the organization, shifting from, maybe you get one on paper, or maybe you don't get one at all, to everyone's getting one once a year and it's delivered electronically. So it's a huge shift for the organization, but I believe this is the right way to go to take this place from, we just get the coal every year to let's perform and try to do our best to take care of our citizens and community. So.
We have, I just want to say, we have I think it's a great incentive to have incentive, but all of our staff, in my opinion, that I've met and spoke to and worked with so far are excellent workers. I mean, everybody deserves to do the best they can do, but it's going to be a challenge, I think. But the incentive is there, and I'm glad we have incentives because we want to keep who we have and keep them strong and positive. So thank you for that, Charlie.
I appreciate it.
Mr. Dance?
So we get supervisors coming from different backgrounds and different ways to evaluate. So are we coming up with a Flagler standard on evaluations and training and getting that out so evaluations are consistent?
Yep. Yeah, we did a supervisor training when this first rolled out, when Neoga first rolled out, and then we just did a refresher training right before this evaluation period. Lauren went on a call and trained everyone going into this evaluation period. So
Is that your own training system? What did we base that on?
yeah, if you want.
Lauren Cumber, HR manager. So when we developed the supervisor training that we did in November, we based it off of, we created a guidance. And so that guidance is based on Flagler County's standards and gave specific examples of what should go into the rating scale. So examples of what's a 3, what's a 4, what's a 5. And then when we did the training, we shared that, reviewed that in the training, But we did pull in research as well from things like Society of HR Management. So it's a mix of outside resources as well as our own.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it's an adjustment period. It's going to take time to get everyone like into a groove of doing this every year, and this is a standard. And
For some, you're still waiting for some to come back for
Yeah,
this
w-
year?
yeah, they have until May 31st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I guess the good point was we're on track. I mean, we're already halfway, so it's looking good so far. But every year we'll get better every year. So, any other questions, concerns, comments? I mean, I'll come back and I'll bring, a structure for how we want to handle the significantly exceeds for 27 and exceeds, and then we can talk through it and implement it for that. So, any other comments or anything you want me to bring back?
No, sir, I think we're good. We appreciate that. It
Thank
was
you.
very detailed. I
Yeah.
appreciate it so much.
Well, we appreciate your support.
you.
We appreciate you guys supporting the employees and giving them something to look forward to and want to work harder to make this place better. So, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you.
Moving on to other items for discussion. Does anyone on the board have anything else they wish to discuss before we go out to public comment?
No, ma'am.
Okay. We're going to open up public comment. It's a 30-minute time period allocated for public comment. You never know. You have 3 minutes to
There's
address.
no public, except the officer back there, maybe.
Yeah, you may have something you'd like to talk
No
about.
comment?
Seeing there's no one approaching, I'm going to go close public comment and ask for adjournment.
Move with